When India needs ghosts in boots, they call the Red Devils. This is one para special forces where death fears to tread. Hi, I'm Deepak and this is day 3 of the series The Genesis of Indian Special Forces. We will see how the stone for one para special forces got laid and what role did the companies of 9 para special forces played across the LOC. In East Pakistan, the Bengali political party Awami League gained an absolute majority and was in a position to form government in both East and West Pakistan. And this was unacceptable to the Punjabi-dominated West Pakistan, and third war with India was just a matter of time. Alpha team was tasked along with an infantry battalion and a troops of armed regiment to take control of the Poonch sector under command of Major M.M. Kariyappa. Alpha team, despite being part of a commando unit, was tasked for a conventional role, and this mistake would be repeated later in wars, including with the same unit. One of the young officers of the unit, Lieutenant Hardev Singh Lidhar, was posted at commando wing at Belgaum, Karnataka when the war broke out. As he heard the news, he pushed off to the Jammu and Kashmir to join unit and join Alpha team. It was believed that one of the Pakistani commander was captured by the commandos during the battles fought in the area. Bravo team was tasked by infantry division to raid multiple ferries across the enemy lines. The plan was to inflict attrition on the enemy, as was done by Meghdut Force in 1965. Led by Captain N.S. Rathore and Lieutenant Tej Pathak, the team was initially tasked to raid multiple ferries in the same night. Captain Rathore went up to the divisional commander to request a change, worried that failure to achieve these tasks would bring bad name to his unit. Divisional commander saw merit in Captain Rathore's argument and readily agreed to the change. The corps commander, Lieutenant General Sartaj Singh, known as a man who would not budge after a decision was taken, was kept in dark. With sketchy intelligence support and warning not to fire at the enemy without provocation, Captain Rathore launched his team at 0000 hours. Captain Rathore had 150 men and 5 officers with him. Navigating through the elephant grass, the team came across the Pakistani troops at ferries. At first, they mistook Indian commandos as reinforcement from the Sialkot and immediately announced the Kafirs had come. Captain Rathore could have capitalized on the confusion, but instead chose to fire. The Pakistani immediately fired back and ran away. Further now, the Charlie team was preparing for a major raid across the Poonch River into the Pakistani artillery unit that was harassing Indian positions. There was a sleepy village called Mandhol in the Madras sector. 6 Chinese 122 mm guns was kept there. That was proving a major problem for the Indian positions. Initially, an infantry battalion was tasked to neutralize the artillery units, but this plan was dropped out and the Charlie team would continue with its plan to take on the guns at Mandhol. Like other teams, Charlie team also had a share of young and energetic officers, like Lieutenant Roshan Lal, Lieutenant Ashok Taskar, and led by Major O.P. Malhotra, a veteran of the 1965 war, and Captain D. Tyagi, an artillery officer. Charlie team infiltrated into the POK at 0000 hours. When they entered, they found this village deserted with old men left behind as a caretaker. The guns were dug around the village and would fire daily at the Indian positions, leading to major attrition to the defenses in and around Poonch sector. Charlie team crept up to the guards and launched their attack at 200 hours, swiftly blowing up the guns. By 300 hours, Charlie team accomplished their task and with few casualties began their trek back home. A raid like Mandhol was of great importance because it was not done by Indian troops before. It came closest to the classical commando tactics of raid position of great importance into the enemy lines. The success at Mandhol for the teams like Charlie would become a legend that would establish 9 para special forces in the coming years. Remember, 9 para was not a special forces, specifically a special force till this time. Down south, Lieutenant Colonel Bhavani Singh was busy preparing 10 para for a specific raid across the international border into the Pakistani Ranges headquarters in the Chachro village of Pakistan, which was 80 km away from the international border. They drove specifically outfitted jeeps resembling Captain David Sterling's patrols of the Second World War. They drove into the Chachro by the early morning of the 6th December and completely took over the Ranges headquarters in Chachro. While 9 and 10 para had established themselves as a special units after the war, but the numerous new forms of the terrorism had posed new challenges to the special forces. Next decade for the Indian commandos would be of relative peace, most of them spending time in training, till the Army Corps headquarters felt the need of a 3rd Commando Battalion to serve as a strategic reserve and serve directly under it in the times of war or conflict. Little did anyone know that the Indian Special Forces had to be ready for a new kind of insurgency that is slowly rising in the state of Punjab. For this task, they chose the oldest regiment of the Indian Army, raised in 1761, the 1st Battalion of the Punjab Regiment. That is now to be converted into the 1st Battalion of the Parachute Regiment. Officers like legendary Major Ranjit Singh Dayal, who led his unit in 1965 to capture the Hajipir Pass. For the 1st Battalion of the Punjab Regiment, this is now time to be converted once again and chart new territories. This is Deepak and signing off for today. Bye bye.